So today I want to talk about daily routines. I'm always so interested. Oh, thanks for the hearts. I'm always so interested to hear about people's daily routines and like what they do and how they create really great working hours and, you know, if they get stuff done. And before I had like kind of a routine, I literally would like wake up, I would scroll through Facebook, I would go and like watch many hours of Netflix, and I would get nothing done for like days and days and days on end. Hi there, Havert. And I would just get nothing done. And so I probably about 45% of the time like sit down and at my desk and like get a ton of work done. But unless I have some sort of like lead up routine into that, like sitting down, I am just like a mess. I'm just like all over the place, you know, not doing anything. I'm going on like 2-hour coffee meetings and just not getting a thing done. So I made some notes. How my day was before I had a routine. Not good. It was just not great. So the first thing that I do when I get out of bed, and maybe one day we'll do a Periscope about my room, but I have a hard time not scrolling, not reaching for my phone and like scrolling through and whatnot. So the first thing I do when I get out of bed is my alarm is on the other side of the room. I go pick it up, I turn my alarm off, and then I immediately like make my bed. Because I know that if I don't do that, then I will get back in and I will like lounge around until like 9 o'clock. So my alarm's set for 7. I know a lot of people are entrepreneurs and they're like, I don't want to have an alarm, but I feel like if I don't have that structure, it just like all goes to shit. So alarm, I don't know. I can't get over it. So 7 o'clock, usually I make my bed and then I go into the kitchen, I put on a cup of tea. I go into the bathroom, I wash my face, brush my teeth, and by that time the water's boiled. I make myself a cup of tea and then I sit down and I give myself 30 minutes at least to just like not do anything. Like sometimes I'll journal, sometimes I'll read, sometimes I'll watch Netflix. Like I give myself permission to do whatever the heck it is that I'm feeling like doing that morning. And on super busy weeks like this week's, yeah, right? I know that's hard. And I know, some people are like, I don't set an alarm because that's why I'm in business for myself, and that's awesome and like more power to you, but I need a wake up time. So I give myself permission for 30 minutes, just do whatever. Sometimes I stretch, sometimes I just like chill on my couch and drink my tea and like stare into space. But I need a really long time to wake up. And so 30 minutes in the morning is good enough for me to like get my head wrapped around what I'm going to do for the day. So then what I do is I go and I try to get dressed. Like that happens maybe 50% of the time. Sometimes I just like put on what I was wearing yesterday because it's easy. But I try to like make an effort to look relatively presentable. And then I go and I sit down at my desk. This is probably takes me about half an hour. Sometimes I shower. Sometimes I just like mop around for another 15 or 20 minutes. And then so usually so that's like 7, usually by 8:30, I'll just sit down and I do like a quick, what the heck is going on. And I'm actually going to So this is my asana. I've mentioned asana a couple times. This is my task management. As you can see, this is today, and this is all the things I didn't do yesterday. So there's a little bit of a disconnect. But here are all the projects on this one side. There's a couple outstanding things from earlier in the week. But usually what I try to do is I try to like drag all of my things that I need to do into today. And then I set priorities. I basically choose like 3 of the things on the list. And I say, these are the 3 things that need to get done today, no matter what. And yeah, and then it's so satisfying to like check that shit off. Sometimes I'm just like, yes. Like, see, today I've checked, well, 1 was a call, 1 was a call, and 1 was some email responses. But I literally put everything in asana. I'm literally like, passport, need to renew passport, that goes into asana. Like, need to send email to so-and-so, that goes into asana. Everything goes in there. And so a lot of times it's overwhelming, but some of these tasks are like, send email, so they're not actually that many tasks. Okay, I'm gonna flip. So I do 3 things. I usually work about an hour at a time. Some people are like, I sit down at 8 and I don't get up till 6. That is not me. I work an hour at a time, and then I have to have a movement break. So I usually like turn on right now. I was just listening to Salento, Watch Me Nene. I was just listening to that song before this because I had just been on a call and I needed a break, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna listen to some music. So I usually like have a little dance break and kind of like I have a big mirror. You can't really see it. You can kind of see it behind me right there. You can see my big mirror and my fox painting. That is where I do a little like dance moves in the mirror. Yeah, and so I work about an hour at a time. I usually have one meeting a day-ish, except on Mondays and Fridays. I never have meetings on Mondays and Fridays. I try not to have calls on Mondays and Fridays. Sometimes it's unavoidable. But yeah, I usually try not to get out of my house Mondays and Fridays because that just gives me flexibility. If I want to sit down and like get some content done, I can do that on a Monday and I don't have to worry about any phone calls. Same thing on a Friday. Usually I'm like wound down from the week on a Friday and I don't really want to like do a bunch of content. So I'll do like admin, I'll do like, you know, whatever, finances, and I'll plan my week next week. And sometimes I like lay on the couch for a while because I'm, you know, 5 days a week. Sometimes I don't want to work all 5 days. So yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so I work about an hour at a time, and that is everything from emails to those things on my to-do list. And that time goes by so fast. You think like, yeah, an hour at a time, I should be working 7 hours a day, but like I really only get 4 segments done, 4 1-hour segments, because I'm usually like up doing something else or like responding to emails or whatever. And so in my like hour work blocks, that's like writing, that's like following up with someone, that's like doing some planning for something, that's pitching a client. So for whatever reason, I can only seem to get 4 of those hour segments done a day. Yeah, anyway. Okay, cool. That's great. Okay, I'm glad I did this like Periscope. Does anybody have questions? Does anyone want to know anything about my day? And I gotta be honest with you, like that's my like ideal perfect day. Like if I can get it all done, this day, like today, I'm doing a pretty good job, but like yesterday, that did not happen. I had been jet lagged. I was like, I can't even focus. I got like 3 emails sent yesterday and I was like, call it a win. Like it's good. That's all I got today. So when I say like, this is how I structure my day, this is how I structure my day 80% of the time, hopefully. Sometimes it's like not even that. So be gentle on yourself. Sometimes it's awesome, sometimes it's not awesome. And it took me almost 18 months to figure out that this is how I work best. Even though, you know, I've been in business for almost 3 years, first as a copywriter, now as an event planner, and it just took me a long time. How do I not beat myself up if I don't? That's a good question. You know, I think I've just been having a lot more grace with myself in terms of like, knowing that I have a great friend, Elizabeth, and she is a great mentor of mine. And she basically just says, you know, if you don't get, you know, sometimes I'll put on my list, like, write content for Boss Lady Bash, you know, like that's on my plate for my next big project, but write content for Boss Lady Bash, binder. And it's like, it's just like every single day, it just like keeps like, I just keep moving it. And I'm like, why can't I do this? And Elizabeth is just like, that's it. It's incubating. She's like, whenever I've had my most successful projects, whenever I've had my most successful things, like they just come out of me and I don't have to like force myself to do it. And so I believe that at some point when I really want to do this Boss Lady Bash binder, like it's going to happen and it'll come pouring out of me and I won't have to sit down and force myself and it won't be my best work. That's what happened when I hosted my first event. It literally like soup to nuts conception, it was like a week because I was just like, I know what this is going to look like. I know how to make it happen. And I didn't have to force it. And so I just try to say like, okay, what, you know, blogging, sometimes a blog post doesn't get done. And I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Am I focusing on something else? Did I pitch a client instead of doing that today? So I don't know. I just try to give myself some grace and I don't know. And then I look back, I say to myself, like, where was I 6 months ago or a year ago? And how much struggle, you know, like how much did I force myself on the day-to-day to do stuff? And what were the best things that came out of that 6 months? I don't know. It sounds really like woo-woo lovey-dovey, but I totally like beat myself up all the time. When you find out the secret, Ashley, you tell me, okay? You can give me a call. Be like, this is how you do it. Cool. Awesome. I'm going to jump off. This was fun. I'm glad I got back into it and I'm going to try and do one tomorrow. Maybe I'll talk about event stuff, when you should be ready to host an event. Particularly if you're a coach, I'm going to do that because so many coaches need to do events, live events. Okay. Bye. See you guys tomorrow.